Hello and welcome back to the Aquinas Esports channel. My name is Blue Jay, and with me today I have Armor Class Will over here, formerly known as Motion, and as his tag says, and a few different things. And we're back with some more College League of Legends, and we have some high stakes here in this match, don't we?
Yeah, we have Aquinas here versus Southern Illinois University. It is the fourth round of C-Law, and AQ currently has a 2-1 record. Playoff requirements for C-Law is 5-1 and 6-0. So we'll have to make sure and keep an eye on our Saints here to see if they can pull it through.
We have full confidence in our Saint squad here. We're already jumping into pick band pretty quick here. So we have Olaf, Zach, and Bard taken off the table for the side of Aquinas. Seraphine, Shen, and Udir are also taken out by Southern Illinois. So we're already going to be a first pick Kaiser here on the blue side, which is Aquinas. Red side is Southern Illinois University.
Oh, we're seeing the Aatrox and the Hecarim coming out first and second pick there for Illinois University. Now, we do see the Udyr brand that you talked about. And if you know Travis, which is Obi Top in there, that man has been a monster this season on Udyr.
He's been a monster on so many different picks. I've watched him rampage across the map on Hecarim. He even does well on Olaf and everything like that. So still a few key junglers left up here on the side for Aquinas, and that's going to be a Volibear picked up. Wow, that's pretty surprising here, but that can be flexed to the top lane. Actually pretty good into Aatrox. You can do similar things in the terms of sustaining that lane, and Alistar picked up for the Kaisen. I really like this Alistar pick. It's really great job, really does a great job of engaging and disengaging, and pairs so well with that Kaisa because you can't remove any knock-up CC without using a movement ability with a cleanse, which is very, very difficult in this game. It's typically you have like a cleanse and then flash, but it also allows them to be, pretty much kept in a stasis for Kaisa to get down the Void Seeker, to get down that Icathian Rain and just pop a champion with all that damage. Now, Thresh is the last support picked up for the first phase of this for Illinois.
Yeah, I want to go back and just capitalize a little bit on that Alistar pick that you were talking about, especially with the popularity of it in pro scene as well. We're seeing the phase rush and the hex flash combination. Alistar is just going to be a massive tank that can run through teams, and he is going to come over any wall that he desires. We are seeing the Twisted Fate as well as the Senna bans taken out here now. Senna, very good ADC. AQ probably looking to clinch that bot lane pool a little bit more. Thresh is a very intimidating support to lane against, especially if you're fighting a very good Thresh that knows where to land the hooks.
Yep, Thresh is one of those champions that can do it all, right? You have that dense sentence, you have the flay, you can put down the box for zoning capabilities, or even in terms of engage if you land a good hook. And also that lantern can be so key. And I really like it picked up with something like a Hecarim, right? Because if you want your Hecarim to dive into the backline and or maybe get in and cause some trouble, you always have that lantern in the back pocket to readjust how that fight is going. And now we see MF taken off the table and Galio as well banned over on the side of Southern Illinois. This AD carry pool being targeted very, very heavily. It's actually going to be the Varus picked up. And I'm excited for this one. I've been talking a lot about Varus over on my Twitter and some different builds you can do, but I think he's kind of underrated. Not sure he's in the best place right now, but I always love to see it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Southern Illinois here is going to use the spell archer here. And we are going to see the Yone being hovered and swapped over to the Swain. Most likely that is going to be our mid laner here for this match. Um, we're looking at still a possible jungle pick here. We talked about how Volibear does do well into Aatrox. Aatrox only has his one dash. And for Volibear, we do get to see him. Oh, we're going to see the Kennen locked in. That is going to be Volibear jungle.
That is going to be a Volibear jungle, and I actually think it works really well into Hecarim. I think it's something that's super underrated. Before, when we saw a lot of Volibear, what you can do early is actually do, 3 camp, get your red buff, do your blue and Gromp, and then invade the Hecarim. Because while Hecarim can clear very, very fast, it's not always the healthiest if you're not kiting it, as well with that Rampage and Spirit of Dread, you can heal up a little bit. But on those buffs, you end up taking a lot of damage. So we'll see what Obi Toppin can pull off in this jungle. Excited to see that matchup specifically. While I am excited for the Varus, I think it's a little odd in this composition. While it does give you good engage there and some backup damage, we'll see what build he decides to go, either on hit or that lethality build to poke him up, or maybe he'll go AP Varus like I've been talking about a bit. But It is super immobile, which is why you have the Thresh, but these are all champions aside from Aquinas that can just dive your team from so many different angles. Like, Volibear becomes unstoppable with his ultimate. This Kennen with that slicing Maelstrom just gets into your backline, stuns up the whole thing. And even Swain, when he pops that ultimate, he just doesn't go down, can walk at you and different points in the game, and Alistar too. So it's very, very difficult for this Varus to stay safe in this game.
Yeah, and even though they have the clear that can come from Orianna and that lethality Varus, there's still the possibility of just seeing a Volibear leap over the wall with Stormbringer and disable your turret. Safety is not going to be a big option here, and they have an immobile mid laner and an immobile ADC now. The only people that we're going to see rushing through is going to be this Hecarim and this Aatrox. Thresh is going to have to be, very careful and very meticulous about where he's tossing his lantern when it comes to these engages.
He really is, and that's why we talk about Thresh being such a high skill cap champion. Is you actually have very little room for error on a champion like Thresh. He doesn't really have a backup plan. Like, he's not going to get too tanky where he could just walk up and get those flays and CC. And really, his big terms of CC and suppression are actually that death sentence, being able to just hook somebody and set up different plays. But that skill shot can be hard to hit sometimes. And so we'll see what Spray can do here on the bot side of the map, and maybe we'll get some action here early, as Kaisa Alistar can be very, very deadly. And like you were talking about with that Volibear, you can set up dives pretty easily. So I'm expecting some action at level 6. For the rest of the map, though, we might just see just a little bit of farming coming up from Mass Hydra in this jungle.
Yeah, he's probably not gonna have a good time ganking that Swain. He does have a lot of good healing potential on him, and that Alistar makes it very safe if that Hecarim does try to engage. He can just get the pummel pulverize, whatever combination he needs to get the Hecarim away from charging this Kaisa. And we're just gonna have to see if Fate's Call here on the Kennen can just land a stun if need be. I mean, if you know Kennen's just like a little Pikachu, will just turn into a Thunderball and get out of dodge when Kennen needs to.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought the attention up to the top lane, because that's been something that we didn't talk too much about. It's good to see Fate's Call here on one of the ranged matchup. He has been role swapping for Aquinas here a little bit, and knows a lot more about ranged matchups, and having that Kennen, which can have a few different builds. I mean, he could build, on hit. I actually don't really see a problem with that. If they want to separate the fight, I think Kennen has that variability where he can either be a complete split pusher or he can be a team fight menace. And against Aatrox, Kennen is actually so deadly. You talked about being able to become that little Pikachu and bolt around everywhere and get out of Aatrox abilities, which, I mean, Kennen has a very heavy range advantage. And when the ultimates come down, Kennen can just stun up Aatrox multiple times and just run away or reposition to get basically a solo kill. So I think Aquinas has a lot of tools to work with and engage and disengage and how they want to approach this game plan. Whereas the side of Southern Illinois, I feel like they just want a team fight, just get into a brawl and in the enemy team's face and just try and take them down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with that Aatrox and how Gore Drinkers played. Aatrox wants to be in the middle of the fight. Hecarim's going to be looking to dive the back line, which is pretty much just Kaisa on the side of Aquinas here. And you talked about it earlier, but Aquinas has a lot of versatility when it comes to how they're playing this game. Like you said, Kennen can go that split push on hit build, or they can go that full on AP one shot build for team fights. And we're going to have to see. They're going to be able to adapt this game. Do you think they're going to be playing early, or do you think they're going to look to play late game with this Aquinas roster right now?
I think it's going to come to the mid and late game here. We talked about the big level 6 spikes from all of these champions, and I think beyond where we're going to see the action is how we're going to see this action played out. I think Aquinas has some tools to, if they get to an objective first, like that dragon, like that Baron pit, they can kind of let the enemy team come into them. The enemy team has good engage, but like this Volibear can't be stopped with that Stormbringer. Swain is going to be picking up that Zhonya's. Kaisa always has that killer instinct, and this Alistar always can, become unbreakable and just get out of all this CC. And Kennen again can dive that backline on the flank. And so I think they have so many tools to just let the other team engage onto them, because they want to set up a few different flank angles and just burst down the Varus and the Orianna before the rest of the team can really come up. However, we do have that phase rush Alistar that you were talking about, so we might see Tybro on these roams. I know he has been working on that quite a bit, just getting out of that bot lane and becoming more effective on the map. Very successful in the last few series that I saw him play this, so excited to see what he chooses to do on this alley.
Yeah, and we do see the cleanse for Kaisa and the ignite for the Alistar here. PJR and Tybro, they are looking to be that aggressive style build, and while we see Spray Can with the Thresh here does have the exhaust, and we do see the three here in the top river trying to gain vision and any footing they can for any deep wards, but they're just going to back off of this for now. Standard 5-point after that little scuffle there between the two teams.
Kind of surprised that Aquinas didn't reach out for a little more, maybe just place down a ward. It was possible, maybe they just didn't have vision on the rest of the members, right? If Springcan is sitting in a bush or something, that death sentence can really be exactly what that name implies, you know, here early. But for now, like you mentioned, it's going to be a 5-point. So far, it looks like Obi Toppin is going to be starting over at the blue buff and pathing his way down to the bot side of the map. They're going to be leaving Fate Skull here on the top side alone, which he'll be very comfortable with on this cannon. We've already talked quite a bit about that, but there's so much kill pressure on the side of Aquinas in this bot lane. So excited to see when that comes out. So blue buff starts for both of these champions.
Something I want to call attention to, we did see that PJR did call for the assist swing right away, and they went to lane right after the minions collided there in bot.
Yeah, that's going to be super good for them, right? You can bounce this wave off of that tower right as Obi Toppin gets into the bot side. Depending on his clear, I mean, he can take a little bit longer, but this could be set up for a huge gank on the bot side of the map. However, Southern Illinois is doing a great job of matching this. You have Spray Cam just auto-attacking these minions, trying to get some pressure down so it won't bounce all the way through. And that could be devastating on the turn because you could have Obi Toppin just pathing to the bot side, and if Mass Hydra clears very, very quickly, which he can on this Hecarim, he could get double scuttled with that pressure.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very mindful of the situation there, and it does look like Aquinas is trying to get some footing here. They are going to rush too, and we are seeing Tybro go in with the QW knock-up onto this Thresh, and does get him below 50% health. Tybro himself a little bit there as well, as the Cathian Rain does hit some of the minions left and the Varus there. And we are now seeing Stevenator is moving up actually towards Chickens there to get some vision on the enemy jungler. Kind of an interesting trade there. If you look at health bars, it doesn't look like AQ came out too well on that.
Nope, but you do have to burn a few pots. Alistar will heal up, you know, with the cries there. As you can see, he's getting a lot of health back here. 00 can even heal up from that one. And I do kind of like that engage onto the support, right? Thresh isn't very malleable right there. I mean, he has to, when he goes in, of course, he doesn't have Aftershock, right? So if he goes in, he's not going to get those bonus resistances. Ooh, nice sidestep from 00 to just dodge out of that death sentence. But as I was saying, Thresh is actually very, very squishy in this matchup right now. And so you can burst him out quite heavily. You can see him, he got down to a 3rd health by proccing that 2nd skin, that, you know, that Acathian Rain. And that's the combo we were talking about there early. So good job from AQ, making that damage there early. And it looks like Obi Toppin's going to get this first scuttle grab.
Yeah, and it's something I want to call attention to. We talked about it earlier, if this Varus was going on hit or if he was going to be going lethality. We do see the Comet coming out, so that's probably going to lean a little bit more towards the lethality style build here. So we are going to be seeing a more safe ranged AD carry coming out for Southern Illinois.
Yep, we'll have to keep track of how he's going to use that Chain of Corruption there in those team fights. And he's able to land it very well as the Umbral Chains land on the Fate Skull. He's getting jumped a little bit. Obi Toppin now showing up into the mid lane, but Phase Rush was procced for he can only beat Jared here on this Orianna, and actually he's getting pulled back.
Get the pull. That is a 200 health Orianna now. we did see a slight altercation there in top lane, though. I think Fate's Call did suspect to see that Hecarim there and did pull back, and now the wave is pushing in under tier 1 top turret. And Hecarim is now counter jungling onto Gromp right now. And we do see Obi Toppin beginning to head down through bot river.
Yep, it looks like Obi Toppin was just called over to that mid lane there just to help push out that wave, give Stevenator a nice reset. It is Ghost and Electrocute for this Swain in the mid lane, so he's not going to be able to get back to his lane as quickly as something like, you know, this Orianna who has teleport. So calling Obi Toppin is really for that team play. It looks like that Aquinas has actually spotted this Hecarim out. You see some pings coming out, but this Drake, first Drake of the game, is going to be Ocean, which is going to be feeling very, very good for some of these lanes. Both of these sides are going to be wanting to get this, and I think Volibear can actually solo this, but having a Kaisa and Alistar roam over right now, they might want to be looking for this on spawn.
Yeah, they do in fact have tempo here in the bot lane. It looks like PJR is wanting to keep that pressure up there, but we do see Obi Toppin currently going towards the chickens there, and we do see Hecarim is now top side. They did see a Mia ping. They put a ward there in the enemy blue side. but they do not currently have the location of this Hecarim. The last known was there counter jungling at the Wolves.
Yeah, and honestly, I'd like to see Aquinas go for this. That's kind of a selfish move, but you knew the Hecarim was on that top side of the map. Your bot lane has some good pressure. You can see the wards there on the mini-map. Just looking at the difference of the ward line, it's into, you know, Southern Illinois jungle. Not by far, but you would have vision to see them coming. And if you just have Tybro just, you know, hold that line, it should be very easy to take that Drake. Instead, they're just going to take a reset. Maybe wasn't confident without some of these item advantages that they're going to have. That Noon Quiver picked up for Kaisa here on the bot lane. You can already see 00 is, you know, holding a pretty good CS lead here early at 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and another thing we were talking about earlier is how Fate's Call has been been role swapping a little bit and more familiar with the ranged matchups. He's actually dominating a little bit towards this Aatrox here in the top lane, which is something that we wanted to see out of him when it came to this melee versus ranged matchup, which is super good for Aquinas right now. We are seeing Obi Toppin is a little bit down, just a little less than, or a little more than one camp, but besides that, AQ is up about 300 gold.
Yep, nothing too big, but that could start for some lane dominance here. You talked about Fate's Call on this Kennen. Look, he does have that Hextech Alternator picked up, so definitely going for that AP build. You don't have to immediately transition that into a mythic item, as Phase Rush's proc for it's only be Jared, and he's going to be chasing down Stevenair on this Swain, who has to pop the Ghost to run through the river. Smart call to go all through here, as Fate's Call is just able to just scamper away on this little lightning rat here on the top side. But look at this, Masked Hydra here is going to be soloing out this Drake with that pressure.
Yeah, we do see Obi Toppin top side there, and bot lane for Aquinas is being pushed in. So by the looks of it, this Drake is going to be free. We do see Stevenator using the W there from Swain to scope it out, and that is a 200 health Hecarim right now. It's kind of getting beat up by this dragon. We do see the initiation a little bit there from Tybro, and we see the follow-up from Kennen going in here, and we see the Stormbreaker coming out from the Volibear. That is going to be first blood going on to Fate's Call.
If they're going to trade that pressure to the top side of that map, those Umbral Trains weren't able to do anything for Masuf here in the top lane, and great job for Obi Toppin being able to make a play on the other side of that while that dragon was going down. Good job from Stevenator there. The Death Sentence goes wide in the bot lane. Now 1-0 for Aquinas. Now a little bit under 1k up, but you can start making use of those leads. If Masuf gets behind on this Aatrox, there's very little you can do in this matchup. That might be their point of pressure, as actually it can only be Jared here is TPing in, but this Hecarim is very, very low. Going on to Tybro, tries to flash away. Shockwave lands, and Tybro will go down to this Orianna. 4 members on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, that was a TP expended. They wanted to trade kill back. They wanted to avenge Masuf there in the top lane, and they're going to get this bot lane pressure. Hecarim was pretty low, and you can see PJR on the map is kind of giving pressure towards those Krugs that they just took, and we're going to see Southern Illinois back off now.
Yep, we'll see if that was worth it, though. They do have all 4 members going into the mid lane here for Stevenair. Surely this has to be spotted out here for Aquinas' side. Now he's rampaging through. That Shadow coming in clutch as he's feared to the rest of the team. And Stevenair just goes down, maybe a little bit of over-aggression trying to push that wave out, but the rest of the team was gone. Not a move you'd like to see from your mid laner. However, Rift Herald should be taken for Obi Toppin. I believe that one's going to go down. It does. He does secure that Rift Herald, so we'll see if he can make use of that pressure and even more plates for the side of Aquinas.
Yeah, I think Stevenator there was really expecting with the lower health bars and the teleport used from Orianna to just have Southern Illinois completely reset there, but you could see that the 4-man roam came up and there was no vision in the river for Aquinas. He just got caught out.
Yep, it is unfortunate is playing, you know, this champions. While Swain is deceptively tanky and has some good, you know, crowd control abilities, he doesn't move very much, my man. He has a limp. He has to use that cane. So if you're just being jumped on, you're too far forward. There's not much you can do to escape. As you know, Fate's Call again trading on that top side, so that we're going to be very, very familiar with. It is the pickaxe here for this Aatrox. Like you mentioned, it's going to be Gore Drinker. I don't think Aatrox has too many variabilities in his build. Maybe build a Stride Breaker. That'd be kind of cool to see. You know, get that little dash, get a slow in there, and good in the 1v1, but not as good sustain for the team fights. However, you know, we have that Lost Chapter for Swain now, matching both sides by it can only be Jared. And yeah, like you mentioned, this Varus is going to be going this full lethality route. Has that Ionian boots picked up, and with those changes, it equals out to roughly about 18% cooldown reduction, you know, with the changes to ability haste. So that's a lot of cooldown for these abilities on this Varus.
We are seeing Fate's Call to just get his back off to match the Aatrox there, and he does have the whip now. I'm very intrigued actually to see how much pressure, if any, is going to be put onto this next dragon here. You know, we are seeing that it's now Mountain Drake, meaning that we are getting either Infernal or Wind Drag. Infernal, very good soul, and Wind Drake, although the cooldown reduction is fantastic, is not necessarily a win con. You know, when you look at Ocean Soul, you think it's a very big win condition, has a lot of healing. And we're seeing Obitoppin come down here, Stormbringer come out, and that's a flash into the stun. And we do see that kill going into Stevenator, actually, all the way above Dragon between chickens.
Yeah, the Tactician securing that one from the river there. Good pickup for Stevenator. Getting one back on the board now was, you know, a flash used by Obitoppin after that Stormbringer, and, you know, Spraycan had to flash away. Didn't burn that exhaust, but the Rift Herald is put onto the bot side of the map. That's kind of what I like to see, right? Get this Kai'Sa ahead. Actually doesn't get
I don't think they're close enough, yeah.
No, yeah, just wasn't able to step up as you had the Hecarim, you know, masking there and the boss side of the map.
They know Hecarim has the Onslaught of Shadows there. If that Hecarim could get onto Kai'Sa in, you know, a matter of even a half second, and that Kai'Sa would easily drop. So it was smart to drop the Rift Herald, but unfortunately they just were not able to get the gold from it like that.
Yep, a little unfortunate. Like the move, didn't really like the execution on that, but it was definitely the right idea. But if you can already see here, Mario Flames getting out some good poke with those hail of arrows and piercing arrow over and over again. You know, has that stacking tier. Excuse me, I forgot what that was for just a moment in the serrated Dirk. So already doing a lot of damage. Now we do have this next Drake coming up very, very soon, within 15 seconds. Aquinas will have to reset before that, I fully expect. The Slicing Maelstrom comes out just to kite this up, but Masuf pops his own ultimate, has the flash here, but isn't going to be chasing down this Kennen, and that's going to probably hurt a little bit for the side of Aquinas. Kennen is one of those champions you really need in this team fight, so they're not going to be able to contest this Drake here. Don't think they're going to be putting up a fight, as their bot lane wasn't able to reset in time. This could be another Drake in the hands of Southern Illinois.
Yeah, now time to see here Infernal or Cloud, and we are seeing the Infernal come out. If Aquinas can pick it back up and get the next 4 Drakes, that is going to be a huge amount of damage amplification that they are going to be receiving. And we do see Obitoppin here is fighting the Hecarim here, does get the Stormbreaker, or not Stormbreaker. Anyway, we are seeing the two here, and we're going to see the Orianna actually join the fight here. Kennen does get the teleport off, and we are seeing the Hecarim come through, and that's going to be a Kai'Sa picked up with the Void Seeker. And we're going to see the ultimate coming out, and this Thresh is just going to get taken down, and that is 2 kills now onto this Kai'Sa, which is going to be huge for them.
Double kill for 00 on this ADC, and that is not the target you want to go on, my man. Obitoppin is so tanky on that Volibear. He just about solo kills Mass Hydra on that Hecarim as a flash coming in from Tybro, but a quick flash away from Mario Flames takes him to safety, and that was pretty clutch coming out of Mario Flames, because that can be a really hard combo to get out of.
Yeah, that was very, very well executed there from Mario Flames. And going back to that scuffle that we saw earlier, and you saw Obitoppin living for so long, Volibear's W, Frenzied Maw, actually can give so much healing once he gets it onto once he hits a champion with it twice, and it can get up to, I believe if he's maxing it, it could probably be about 12 to 14% right now for healing per hit. We do see an altercation. He's got the fancy feet. That's going to be the flash onto the Orianna. We're going to see the Stormbird coming out for Volibear. We're going to see the Alistar coming through with the flash, and that is going to be a kill picked up for Obitoppin.
Yeah, Spraycan going down once again when the rest of his team tries to make some of those plays. Unfortunate for him, 0-3 and 3 on that Thresh. Again, he has those Ionian boots, and that's going to feel good for some of those summoner spells, you know, being able to reduce that cooldown. But yeah, Stevenator, I think played that fight really, really well, and yeah, that's pretty insane, actually. Obitoppin there, like I was going to say before, you know, if he had that Stormbringer to slam down in that 2v1 situation, I'm pretty sure that Hecarim dies, because you become completely immune to any crowd control coming through, and Spraycan was layering that with the Death Sentence and the, you know, Onslaught of Shadows, and I think Obitoppin actually wins that fight, and you can see it does come in for some good pickups there in the mid lane.
Yeah, and even right now it's only level 1, but it's still an additional 200 health, and if you're near that center, that's easily 300 physical damage coming out.
Exactly, and you can already see, now that we've hit more of this mid-game spike, this is kind of the action we more of expected, right? We have these ultimates coming through, and Aquinas having to have more impact on the map with this Alistar and with this Kai'Sa, that killer instinct, allowing 00 to get across that map, securing those 2 kills in their own jungle from across a few walls. Now we'll see what they choose to work with this pressure as the second Rift Herald's going down to Aquinas here. Fate's Call now steadily 33 CS in this matchup. Almost has that unforgivable onslaught of shadow comes through from Mass Hydra. Multiple ultimates coming down. They actually steal away the Rift Herald, but they are all going down as Spraycan is the first to fall, followed by Mass Hydra, but they're able to trade one back onto Fate's Call, and now Obi Toppin is stuck in the pick. Doesn't have the flash, was down for just a few more seconds. And actually, Southern Illinois come out on top, heavily favors. They're able to pick up that Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, that was kind of an unfortunate 5v4 there. They did bring their bot lane up to that Rift Herald. Meanwhile, PJR is pushing this tier 2 bot lane, and they're going to be dropping this Rift Herald mid to break down tier 1 mid lane.
For sure thought that Aquinas had that with that Slicing Maelstrom coming through, but the Aatrox able to heal up so much, and he doesn't even have the Gore Drinker. They didn't have the Proto Belt for that Kennen in that fight, though, so I think now that they have picked up a few more different item spikes, they're going to be feeling much more comfortable. But an excellent onslaught of shadows and a quick steal from Mass Hydra turns that fight around, so great job by Southern Illinois. But 00 was picking up quite a few waves here, and has actually pulled ahead in CS as well, so I feel like Kai'Sa has to be this main carrier for Aquinas.
Yeah, even without the Gore Drinker yet for healing when it comes to AoE activation in fights, he still has, even with 1 point into his Umbral Dash, that's still 20% healing when you get to those dark zones of the queue. That's, if you look at it, the Darkened Blade, 3 strikes, and that's a lot of healing that can just come out for Aatrox here. And now we are seeing some positioning as we do have the Infernal Drake coming up in 46 seconds. We see Obi Toppin and Tybro here moving through River and trying to get some deeper vision. The only people that we see at the top of the map right now are going to be Kennen and Aatrox, and Aatrox does have the teleport here, and Fate's Call is slowly moving to mid lane.
Yep, Fate's Call is going to rotate down over here to the bot side of the map. Kind of hanging on the outskirts so far, as a Piercing Arrow being charged. Obi Toppin as the front line for Aquinas, you're just sitting in this bush, but they spotted that ward out. Again, just this cooldown reduction on this Varus allows him to use so many of these abilities as that mid lane turret does go down, and that's really what you want to see from Aquinas. That's probably why they're going for that Rift Herald, right? That the mid lane turret can do dividends when it comes to these mid lane skirmishes, opens up the map so effectively, but Southern Illinois is here first. It looks like they're going to be going in. Death Sentence goes wide, but the rest of the team is here. Obi Toppin being chunked out. Slicing Maelstrom, not quite activated yet, but it's chaos here in the river. Shut down, going over to Fate's Call on this Kennen. That'll be another one to 00. As Obi Toppin picks up, it can only be Jared in the back end of this fight. Now Masuf is in the middle of 5 members, and that's not where you want to be, my guys. The Drake is going over to Aquinas. 4 for 0 in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely destructive there. If you were noticing the fight like I was, we saw Demon Flare. We did see the Slicing Maelstrom, and we saw the Stormbringer. AQ has circles upon circles in these team fights. It is so scary to position against them.
All that AoE damage coming through for Aquinas means it doesn't really matter what the positioning is coming out from Southern Illinois. You only have 1 Lantern, but you have 3 people trying to dive and fight. And if you're able to CC lock some of these, like you saw Spraycan, Mario Flame, we're all locked down in the middle of that. And it can only be Jared. Tried to get out over the wall, but Obi Toppin was able to fall with that Stormbringer. And, actually came out of that fight with more health than when he entered.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier, but Southern Illinois has that immobile ADC and that immobile mid lane. It is so difficult for them, especially if they go into these fights without flash, like it can only be Jared did not have his. It's going to be real rough, especially since you see Obi Toppin, that Volibear, he has the chem tank. He is saying gas, gas, gas all the way to the back line right now.
Yeah, and people still underestimate the damage that a Volibear could do. Yes, he takes that press the attack here, just for that early game skirmishing abilities, but as soon as he pops that and gets that Frenzied Maw, which is a relatively short cooldown, even shorter with the changes to Chem Take, so I'm really glad to see this Volibear entering the Rift. I'm hoping to see a lot more of that. I think it fits Obi Toppin's playstyle pretty perfectly. I mean, he's always been, the type of person who wants to engage, wants to get into the face, but he also wants to take down those carries by diving into the back lane. So excited to see the success so far here. And it looks like all the side for Aquinas has gold on the right members being spread out fairly evenly as Southern Illinois is trying to set a trap here for Steven Nader. As Tybro just knocks away Mass Hydra, but the Death Sentence lands. Steven Nader has to pop the zone as the box goes down.
He's healing so much.
Yeah. tries to flash away. He's actually going to buy so much time. Finally goes down to Masuf. Tybro has to pop the Unbreakable Will, and a TP comes out for Fate's Call, but Southern Illinois had to use so much just to get one member.
Yeah, we saw the onslaught of shadows coming out. We saw the chains coming from Varus and the box coming from this Thresh. They really wanted to take Stevenator out of this game, and that bounty did go on to Aatrox, which can be a late game teamfight menace, but not exactly someone I would expect them to want that gold to go on right now.
Yeah, I mean, you started to wonder where Southern Illinois wants to make this pressure, because this mid lane Swain, it's not like he's doing that much on this fight. Had that broken stopwatch, which wasn't his own, yes, excuse me, but Stevenator's not the one popping off in these fights. It looks like they're just trying to go for a pick and grab anyone they can, but if it just took that much to take down the 3-3 mid laner, what else is it going to cost them to change corruption? Actually land to Fate's Call. He's taking a few tower shots here. The teleport comes in from It Can Only Be Jared. The Proto Belt buys him a little bit of time, but that phase rush speeds him up, and the shockwave coming through onto Obitop. And Spirit of Dread pop for this Hecarim, so he'll be healing up. Obitop is still doesn't have that Stormbringer, so that's going to be a double kill for It's Jared here. Mass Hydra trying to take up the turret, but 0 is here, and that's going to be a double kill for AQ's AD carry. Make it a triple as Spray Can goes down, and as far as the soon to fall is Stevenator gets his revenge.
Yeah, he comes in and he deflects the bot lane of Southern Illinois, using the Death's Hands against Varus and Thresh there, and allowed PJR just to collect with his items already. That is so big. You know, we saw the Orianna TP coming out, and we saw the death of Fate's Call, and it started to look real grim for Aquinas. But the rotations coming out from PJR 00 and Stevenator just turned that fight around, and AQ takes that advantage and now gets another turret for it.
And you could appreciate the play coming out of Southern Illinois. I mean, trying to get a few more picks while some ultimates were down for Aquinas, and Mass Hydra was just doing the gentleman thing to do by taking that tower, but you only got a Triforce. You are not that tanky. I mean, that Spirit of Dread helps you when you're doing damage, but if you're not, you can see he got all the way down, and 0 is just able to pick up a free kill. And It Can Only Be Jared was chasing the other team all the way into the turret. I mean, what are you doing, man? Maybe you're hoping a Lantern for Spray Can will pull you out, but he's on the other end of the fight, and Stevenator was just able to get in the back of those two members and took the rest of them down. As now we have this next Infernal Drake spawning in the next 30 seconds, and Aquinas is already in a prime position.
Yeah, very good and decisive calls there made from Aquinas. They're having the Fed Kaisa on PJR, splitting, going under turret to get the Orianna and the Hecarim cleanup. We do see a Death Sense here land on Obitop in here. We're kind of seeing some back and forth as there's the TP coming now from Aatrox. We have Infernal Drake respawning here in 5 seconds. And we see good vision on both sides, but we're going to have to see positioning is key here. No matter which team you are, you're going to have to be very worried. If one member gets caught out, that could mean the entire fight right now.
And you're getting some good value out of this Varus pick already. You could see Obitop was chunked down to half health. Stevenator also down to half health, so it makes it a little risky for AQ to come in. Now it's going to come down to the rest of the execution here, as that Chain of Corruption and Shockwave combo can do a lot of work in a team fight. When you have that, that shockwave here for Orianna, always that potential of zoning away and getting a good chunk onto the back line. So Aquinas not really in the best position. Tybro is going for a flank here, but
PJR got poked out there with the Prisoner already half health now.
Yeah, it looks like, actually, Obitop's going to flash on this. Orianna is going to go down. That Shockwave not doing anything is now a 4v5 for Aquinas here. Slicing Maelstrom coming through Zhonya's to buy some more time. Stevenator takes down Mario Flames yet again as the shutdown goes over to Mass Hydra against 0 and a double kill for Stevenator so far on this Swain, and they're not done yet. Make it a triple. Stevenator going on a rampage in this game, and Tybro picks up the last kill for Aquinas, and now this Infernal Drake is next on the list.
All right, I just want to pay respect here to this Alistar pick. He was alone top side of the river, distracting members of the team. You see Obitop and pop the chem tank and immediately went on to It Can Only Be Jared's Orianna here. And he almost took out PJR, dropped him to sub 200 health, and PJR lived that entire fight running from a Hecarim. It was only 2 legs versus a giant horse.
Oh, that was perfect for Aquinas. That's exactly what you want to do against this Southern Illinois composition, because they want you all to come into them. They just want a nice, easy front-to-back team fight. But Tybro, He knows what's up. He's flanking with this Alistar. He drags Max Hydra away from the rest of the team. Same with Spray Can. And like you said, Obi Toppin just goes in on It Can Only Be Jared, running one way and then flashing right on top of him. Then that was beautiful. Just that engage coming out of Aquinas. That's what you really want to see. Very, very impressed with that last team fight.
Yeah, I'm very curious what the communication there sounded like for them. We did see the 4 members splitting down. I actually did not even pay attention to see the Alistar flanked my own vision there, and we can see the entire map.
Yep, so great job from Aquinas. And now look at this. 7,000 gold in the lead, has now picked up the latest 2 Drakes, so they're already on their way to outscaling the rest of their team. And if they're able to keep playing like this, I think this can make a pretty easy win for Aquinas. They have a lot of towers down, and something I am starting to worry about is Masuf here on this Aatrox. 1-3-3, not able to do much in these team fights. The rest of his members are going down too quickly, but even he has to burn these teleports. Like, you know this Drake is coming up, you know, in a minute, 30 seconds. Instead, he decides to walk all the way to the top lane, just gets a few minions in the top lane, and then immediately has to teleport. So Southern Illinois not quite on the same page. Doesn't seem like they have, you know, the best game plan when it comes to some of this macro sense. So we'd like to see that clean up on the side of, you know, Southern Illinois University. But so far, it's paying off for Aquinas. So, you know, can't be too critical. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, they're doing really well here, and we see that they do have those 2 Infernal Drakes. They're already getting that massive increase, I believe 8% right now, increase of attack damage and ability power, which is huge when you look at the 6-1 Kai'Sa and the 7-3 Swain. They are team fight monsters already.
Exactly, and that you already have that Swain building Zhonya's. I mean, he's going to be tanky, and not only is he going to be tanky, but he's going to start burning down the rest of the team with that increased ability. Power has that Leandre, so again, the more he's in these fights, the more damage he's going to be doing. And even this Volibear can be popping some of these carries on the side of Southern Illinois, so I have to be very, very careful with these fights. It's something that I don't think they've been setting up as efficiently for. However, we're not going to be hitting, you know, this Drake Soul anytime soon, but as the game goes on and on, you go later into this match, it just allows that if one team fight goes wrong, then that could be the end of the game, right? This Baron is up, the next drink will be soul point, so these teams have to contest and make a decision, and you've already opened up the rest of the map for Aquinas here. Only 1 tower is left that's not an inhibitor or a base tower for Southern Illinois, so they have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about it earlier with the Zhonya's coming out. I mean, they have it on both Kennen and Swain, so the Slicing Maelstrom as well as the Demonic Ascension, they're both able to just pop those Zhonya's and just sit pretty, while the entirety of Southern Illinois is just being melted by these 2.
Yep, it looks like Aquinas is going to be turning onto this Baron. They're just chunking it out. This Kai'Sa has 3 items already, so this just goes by so fast. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that Southern Illinois can do for it.
Yeah, they drop the blue trinket and Baron is already at 30% health and they just take it for free. Very good play there coming out from Aquinas, gaining the advantages that they can, and we are now seeing some members reset and prepare. We see the Infernal Drake coming up in 1 minute, but I want to see Aquinas here make sure they're using this Baron to break open the base and start getting those inhibitors.
Yep, and I'm a little curious about this, you know, Kai'Sa build. Fortunately, it doesn't really matter that much in this game. It's not like there's any true tanks on the side of Southern Illinois, but it's actually that Nashor's Tooth, and has a Zhonya's as well. You know what? I take that back. I'm loving this Kai'Sa build, right? Because you talk about the other team wanting to dive into these fights, and then Kai'Sa's able to reposition, get that burst damage off with that Icathian Rain and Void Seeker, you know, popping that second skin, and then now you have all 3 of your real carries here for Aquinas being able to Zhonya's buying 2.5 seconds of time at different intervals. It's just going to be so effective. It's so much fun to watch. And I mean, before Mass Hydra was able to chase him around the rift, but now it's not going to amount to anything.
Yeah, you're just allowed so much time with the 3 Zhonya's now, especially if you're Kai'Sa. Any CC that comes out from your tanks, you can pop the Zhonya's. You know, you have that 2.5 seconds of just getting ready to move, and if you see CC across the fight, you're able to just zoom there as Kai'Sa and go to safety. Very, very smart pickup here, especially with such a picked team fight comp that is drafted here by Southern Illinois.
Yeah, and the other team doesn't really have that much magic resistance in order to follow through against this comp, but one thing I didn't talk about was that with that Void Seeker upgrade, you actually get that cooldown reduction on that ability if you're landing against these champions. Fate Skull is going all into Masu. Actually tries to flash wave, but the shockwave to follow, and It Can Only Be Jared does flash to pick that one up. That is one of your split pushers down for the side of Aquinas, and that doesn't feel good when you're trying to break open the base.
Yeah, they're gonna have to reset. They're gonna back up here a little bit. They might just go right towards that dragon. They did break open the inhibitor turret in mid lane here, but you can see that AQ is currently setting up for possibly a bushwhack. But we do see the blue ward coming out. That is Obi Toppin coming in with the Hextech or the Chem tank, and that is going to be the box dropped. And that is going to be the support picked off. But we do see the Aatrox did get that TP through, and now it is a 4v4.
And not
Obi
only
Toppin does
four
the
v
flash
four,
over the wall and smacks him. That's BJR coming out with the execution, the collector. That's Killer Instinct going across the map, and now it is 2 versus 4. And we are just seeing the sides of Southern Illinois University run as fast as they can. That's Tybro going into the flash knockup, and that is going to be Masuf falling to Obi Toppin, and that's going to be Inhibitor. Do you think that could be game?
that could. We have the TP coming in from Fate's Call. They have a huge wave here in the mid lane. Not only Mass Hydra is here to stop it, but he has I mean, absolutely zero way of clearing this wave as Aquinas is going to be breaking down that first Nexus turret. Their eyes are on the second. Mass Hydra goes down. The Lance came out from Spray Camp, but there's nowhere to go as the Nexus is soon to follow. That'll be match 1 to the side of Aquinas College.
Yeah, much like the enemy base, Aquinas' eyes were red with blood, and it became a slaughterhouse at the end of that match.
And that was exactly what I was talking about when we talked about the later end of the game, right? Everyone was ready to go, they were revved, but not only that, but that Drake just allowed for a free fight. I mean, you talked about the 4v5, and Akona was able to turn that into a 4v4, but look, Southern Illinois already used some key ultimates before that even happened. You didn't have the shockwave from Oriana, who, just ran right through with no one around here, and that chain of corruption actually missed prior while everyone was sitting in that bush, so you didn't have 2 of your big lockdown ultimates in that fight, and so they were just contesting for nothing, working with nothing, and Aquinas was easily able to turn that around. They had that Baron buff, they have a wave stacking into the mid lane, so great pickup for Aquinas.
Yeah, and something I really want to make sure that we're kind of paying attention to here. You talked about it that we're going to be focusing on that mid to late game, and Aquinas actually very well played that game plan. They were able to just go on through, and they traded the first 2 dragons, but they didn't just trade it. They got the advantage and they got the gold lead, which allowed them to get the 3rd and 4th Drake, and they were just able to end the game after getting that Baron and getting that split call. And just Fate's Call was able to get that top pressure, and as Aquinas backed back up towards that dragon, they got the pick, and it was just very well executed from them.
Yeah, like you say, it's one thing to draft a plan, it's another to execute it. And too often we see teams, drafting for this mid to late game and then trying to contest the first 2 dragons, trying to bite off more than they can chew. They just start falling farther and farther behind to where their composition isn't able to scale. But Aquinas is able to flip that coin. They're able to let that pressure melt there early. They didn't give up too much. I mean, sometimes people say, oh, we can scale. This is the other end of the coin, right? We can scale, we can just give up everything, but they didn't. They were able to trade objectives. They got that Rift Herald. He had Fate's Call in that top lane, pulling further and further ahead against Masuf, who kind of blind picked this Aatrox without knowing what anything that Aquinas was drafting. So maybe we'll see a few differences coming into the second stage of the draft phase. We'll see what they want to mix up and do. But so far, Aquinas pulls ahead now 1-0 against Southern Illinois University.
Yeah, and again, we just want to talk about how important that this is going to be. For Seed Law, this is the 4th round, like we talked about at the beginning of the match here. To make playoffs, you do need to have a 5-1 record or a 6-0 record, and Aquinas is currently sitting at 2-1. So these next few matches are going to really determine if they can make it in or not.
Yep, they have to make 3 games in a row, or 3 matches rather, as this next game could decide whether this goes to a 3rd match or not. But Aquinas is on fire so far, expecting for them to be very, very confident. And while let's look at a few of these members, right? Fate's on that top lane had a really great, counter pick that Kennen into Aatrox, and it was able to transition that into some good team fights. I am fairly happy that it was able to choose to go into an AP build. I think that was actually very much needed there when Steven Ader got a little bit behind in that mid lane. But Obi Toppin was able to find some really, really good engages. And I think 0-0 is always been a huge part of this team with that damage, and the trust that this team has in their carry just to be able to scale and find these fights is pretty insane. But that last member, Tybro, man, I gotta say, that fight there in the river where he was flanking and able to just draw the rest of the tension, I think that's like the game-winning play right there.
Yeah, don't let the rank fool you. Tybro is, I think he's an underrated player when he comes into these sets here. I mean, last season he was able to just absolutely dominate top lane against these masters and high diamonds. He was getting these solo kills on champions like Malphite, and it was absolutely fascinating to watch. And now he's playing the support role. We see him on things like the Alistar, and he is still that wild tank playmaker.
Yeah, he loves the game of League of Legends, but he doesn't really love ranked, to be honest. From the conversations that we've had, that you've talked to him, I mean, he just doesn't enjoy
Mhm.
some of that different types of pressure. But he loves competition. If you know Tybro, I mean, he has different competitive, sports that he's been a part of. And so having him in this League of Legends squad is always a blessing. He's so positive to work with, and you can see his mechanics aren't that bad, especially on this Alistar. I've seen him on some really great engaged champions. I always felt like he was actually a better support than he was a few different other roles because he knows how to play these games.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about some of the other athletics that he's been a part of. I mean, Tommy's big thing was cheerleading, and he translates that hype and that mental into League of Legends. He is a solid foundation for the other players to lean on. If you start going down, Tybro, he's very good at making sure you keep your head in the game and you focus back up.
He is just an amazing player, an amazing person to watch here in this game. Has some great support for Double Zero here, who's when we were talking about him, I mean, sometimes we don't always give him the credit that is due. I mean, he was a rather new player actually coming into this year. We picked him up last year for the bot lane, but he has grown so much in this position, and he quickly became a dominant force for this Aquinas squad, being able to pick up quite a few different champions very, very quickly. And he always takes his time actually when practicing these different champions. I know we asked him to play, Kaisa, Misfortune, Aphelios, these sort of things. And when he was learning, he would play like 20, 30, 40 games before he said, you know what, I'm ready to go. Let's get moving. And then he was able to just slaughter the composition. However, we are jumping into drafting phase. Or actually, it's gonna miss. This looks like we have some connection issues. But in the meantime, Aquinas will be on the red side this game, so they will get last pick in the draft. And Southern Illinois is going to be on blue side.
Yeah, and in case anybody is joining us, the record currently is Aquinas is 1-0 to Southern Illinois University here. This game, pushing forward here is the hope that Aquinas is going to be able to keep this streak going. And we are now back into these bans, and we're seeing the Shen come out first ban here. Um, I don't really think Aquinas is going to be worried for anything that they fought in that first game. I think they're going to go standard bans.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much they need to change. However, Southern Illinois is going to be banning away that Kaisa. Typically, we don't see that banned away on blue side here, so most people like to pick that one up. But I guess Mario Flames isn't too comfortable on that Kaisa. I mean, we saw him pull out the Varus. I was kind of excited for it, but that's more of a personal reasons. I love that champion. I love that design. But again, I don't think he's in the best position right now. When you can see, like we talked about, having just two immobile champions in that match. And I think Oriana was definitely the better of the two, and that Varus was able to get some good poke down, but in the end, it didn't matter, and he was just blown up. Wasn't able to bring too much to that team as he was more skill shot reliant than anything. But let's go back to these bans. The Seraphine taken off, as well as the Zac and Udyr. So pretty much
It
the same bans for Aquinas.
it is a full jungle ban over here, actually. Absolutely crazy to see. They didn't take the Hecarim off because Obi Toppin does, in fact, believe he can take it. And that's going to be the Hecarim picked up yet again for Southern Illinois.
Yep, I think that that one wasn't too much of an issue. I mean, it did do a great job there, just diving into the backline, that onslaught of shadows. I think that's what won them a lot of those early fights, and was able to pick off Stevenator a few times in that mid lane. But looks like on the other side, I mean, you still have a ton of options. You can go back to that Full Bear. I think that's actually really, really good into the Hecarim. You could see Obi Toppin, even went a little bit behind, was able to duel that one out. But instead, they're switching over to J4, another champion we haven't really seen in the jungle that much.
Yeah, it's been a little while since Jarvan's had that popularity here, and I'm kind of curious if they're going to be building a team comp around the Cataclysm. When you are able to lock in members of the enemy team in that ult, it becomes like a blender, especially if you have the right tools for it. Things like the Kennen or even a Gnar would be very good to pick up. The Narvin combo has been very popular, especially through Pro Scene.
And you have so many different options you can work with in the mid lane as well. I think that Swain can be very, very good. Maybe they pick up the Ori on a next, but Beyond just the mid lane, even the bot lane, this misfortune is still open. If they want to pick Senna, that's still available. We'll see what they choose to do as they locked in that Alistar, again giving some more roaming potential and team fight potential. Looks like Aquinas wants to stick with a 2-tank combo, and they're able to do it pretty well. It's actually the Darius is picked up for Southern Illinois.
Yeah, we do see the solo queue champion himself making the appearance on the Rift today. I'm very curious if they're going to actually pick up an ADC here because last time they didn't grab an ADC at this point. Yep, there it is. There's a misfortune. Last time they were at this stage, they did not get their ADC and the pool just got clinched. And that's what happened with the Varus. A lot more of a niche pick champion there. I'm excited to see that they picked up the misfortune this early, though. It definitely is showing that they kind of undervalued what Mario Flames was going to be able to do.
Yep, not only is it Misfortune a great, strong ADC in the bot lane by herself, but it also takes away from Aquinas' composition, right? You talked about the Cataclysm, J4 combos that can be pulled out. And it is going to be the cannon picked up, and that's actually a really, really good matchup into Darius. So kind of surprised to see Masuf choosing into this matchup. Again, he picks his top laner blind, another melee champion. And Kennan's so good into that, right? He has the stun. He can pick up phase rush if he wants to. He can always, zap himself away. And so a lot of options for Fate's Call in this top side of the map. And I just don't think Southern Illinois is kind of giving the respect over to the top laner that they should be, as we have Samira taken out and Galio for Southern Illinois, and Leona and Thresh over here in the bans for Aquinas, as looks like Double Zero is going to go back to his old favorite, which is going to be Ezreal.
Yeah, I talked about the idea of the blender earlier, and it's slowly becoming more and more of a reality, especially with that Kennen pickup. The Slicing Maelstrom, followed by the Cataclysm, and the Swag Flag drop from Jarvan. Alistar's there just to keep him in place. I'm really excited to see what Stevenator is going to whip out here. We are seeing the Karma mid most likely coming out, and this Yumi might be the hover. Oh no, we're seeing the Azir swap. I would actually say that's a pretty good pickup here, especially with how much engage and how much in your face that Aquinas is looking at right now.
Yep, I like the Azir overall against the composition, but it doesn't feel like they really have something that's going to be locking down for the bullet time for Misfortune. As you talked about, the Onslaught of Shadows is really good engage, but it actually disperses the enemy team, right? Fears them in all different directions, so it can be very difficult for them to aim and choose this composition. Karma, again, doesn't really have any lockdown abilities. You're really choosing to speed up this Hecarim and get your team moving around, which can be good for the Darius. And Azir is, again, just doesn't really bring anything to work together on the comp. It just looks like they're drafting against what Aquinas is building instead of drafting for their own composition, which, I mean, if you're winning your lanes and you're playing correctly, it can be a good way to play the game, but typically you want to work with your team. So this is kind of confusing for the side of Southern Illinois, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a really hard time figuring out their team objective here. The Hecarim is going to be able to try to get these lanes ahead a little early on, but when it comes to that team fight massacre that could be there, like look at Aquinas for example. The only thing that really changed is going to be that Volibear. Instead of the run at them engage, you now have a knock up and a lockdown, and now PJR is just playing another safe carry here with the Ezreal. He's just going to be able to use the the rift jump that he has. And he's going to be able to get away from things like this Hecarim, like this Darius. And Misfortune's going to be very, very squishy here and immobile. I mean, that bullet time and such, she's going to be locked down into one spot.
Yep, and maybe the big point of contestation they have here is this bot lane, right? You have the Misfortune and the Karma, and this can just be so abusive here, right? You might not even want to play the game after the first 5 minutes of League of Legends against a bot lane like this, right? You have the Make It Rain, which is going to be poking them out. You have the Karma mantras there with the Inner Flame, just poking out the Alistar and Israel, who both those champions need time to scale. And a lot of times when we talk about Alistar, we like to joke that he's not even a champion until at least level 2. I'm level 3 maybe, but he really can't do anything here early on against the range composition.
Yeah, he's going to have a rough time. If he gets poked out, he's going to have to play super far back, and they're going to have to give a lot of respect towards this Misfortune and towards this Karma. I mean, Karma with her Q, the Inner Flame, and the Soul Flare, it's just a lot of damage, especially with that follow up on Mantra, like you were talking about.
Yep, so fully expect Southern Illinois to be playing off the bot side of the map here. However, if they go to the top side, they get Fate's Call behind here on this Kennen against the Darius. Darius is able to weather the storm and then, get that that stride breaker and has that ghost and be able to chase down Fate Skull here early while the bot lane is going ham and poking them out. Aquinas can fall pretty far behind in these lanes. So they need to be very careful with their gameplay and not play over aggressive, which I know after, the first match goes over to you, can kind of get in your head and you can start making a few mistakes you wouldn't otherwise because you're confident and you've loosened up a little bit. But Aquinas really needs to lock this one down, make it a 2-0 coming out quick and easy in this match here.
Yeah, and I know we're issuing the side of caution here for AQ, but you also have to think of the reverse here. If Southern Illinois messes up on a play, these late game scaling monsters are only going to get closer and closer to that pinnacle point that Aquinas is looking to get to. Their game plan is still pretty similar to last game. They want to get to that mid to late, team fight game plan there, and they are just going to try to dominate. And if they mess up early on and they start getting, 2K gold lead early in these 10-minute areas, that's going to be really, really difficult for Southern Illinois to come back to.
Yep. So again, we are watching, that mid late game for Aquinas. Maybe some early pressure here on the side of Southern Illinois, but like you said, that big change is that J4 for Obi Toppin in the jungle. And I mean, you can invade early even on J4. We see that quite a bit. It's a different strat that you used to see, on Graves on J4. They'll take red buff and then they'll immediately move into the enemy jungle, try and duel you out. Not sure if that's what you want to do here, though. I mean, you are starting on the red side and you actually have pressure on the top side of the map. So if Hecarim starts that blue, which I'm not sure he'll do. I think Mass Hydra does like to start on the bot side of the map, and he doesn't really need that blue buff early anymore with the changes to the jungle item, and is actually quicker on his clear. He gets that more gold here on Hecarim if he starts with that red buff, goes to, Krugs, then Raptors, then clear up. However, Obi Toppin could very easily decide the pace of this game. Like, if he gets off an early cheese gank here, Swain in the mid lane has such good lockdown potential. I mean, if you CC anyone, he can immediately pull you back in, or even the bot lane. That's a double knockup if you get that, that flag and drag and the Alistar combo. You can easily burst one of the squishy champions to the bot lane. So we'll see what OP Toppin's game plan is on that jungle. Excited to kick off onto game 2 of Aquinas Esports versus Southern Illinois University. We'll see how this match goes. We are loading onto the Rift.
Something I want to call attention to, that Darius does have Ghost Flash right now. He's looking to be that lane menace instead of the the team fight roam. They actually have the teleport only on the Azir now. It does match up, Kennen having the teleport in Azir, while the Flash Ghost combination are on mid and top here for Swain and Darius. And we do have a pause right now, but we are going to get our timers set up, and the first dragon is going to be that Earth Drake.
And before we got rid of the the chat, you could see the other team is having some, let's say, technical issues there, right? As they're loading into the game. But it is the solo queue King Darius on the top side. Expect that Stride Breaker. I love that item. Personally, we're seeing a little bit more. You talked about the Gnar, which I think Fate's Call can pull out pretty quickly. I do like, Kennen here in these matchups is actually a really good champion that I don't think we see enough in some of these different leagues. He provides a really good AP threat, allows your jungler to go AD like a Hecarim, like, an Olaf or any of those type of champions, and gets that damage diversity down, get a little bit of a portfolio moving for the rest of your team. It looks like Aquinas has a level 1 strat they're going to be bringing out.
Yeah, you can see the on the way pings going already there for Bottom River, as we do see Southern Illinois is getting ready to set up that 5-point. We'll have to see how AQ is going to approach this. It looks like they're going to possibly lead down into that tri-brush, but Mario Flames dropped the ward and backed off immediately before they even all grouped together, and that's going to be the ward kill going over to Jarvan already.
I mean, that's actually pretty smart from Obi Toppin, start scanning already, so you don't waste too much time. I would have liked to see that ward go over to someone like Steve Nader or Fate's Call. You can hit level 2 off that first wave and really start abusing some of these matchups, but I think they just wanted to clear the ward and get out, make sure they don't get anything lost on the top side. But it is a ward for Masked Hydra over on the top side of the map, so they're going to get vision of that red buff, and they'll be seeing Obi Toppin starting on that top side of the map. That's a lot of tops I've been saying in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you talked about it earlier, how the Jarvan can get the cheese gank off, and it looks like that's going to be the plan for Aquinas here starting on this red buff.
Yeah,
We
and
actually
again,
do
Masked
see...
Hydra. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we see that the Alistar and the Ezreal are moving in once again early on to the minion wave here. They're on the bush, and you can see the pinks coming out more frequently. And Alistar is now, blocking the minion wave and getting the aggro and then resetting it.
Yep,
That is a tactic that you can do for top lane if you want to get the wave to get shoved into you or into your opponent, depending on how you play it. That is going to be the 5 stacks and the bleed already onto Fate's Call. He's already at half health.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with that matchup, you'd like to see Darius sitting in one of those bushes. And since they knew that, it's actually a flash coming down. Obi top of Flag Attack does miss, however. He's taking 2 church shots.
A lot of damage.
He just gives that first blood over to It Can Be Jared, and that's what you hate to see when your jungler plays J4.
Yeah, a little aggressive there. He came out with the flash right away to try to bait Azir into flashing early, and he just went too deep under that turret.
Really, really unfortunate stuff there for OP Toppin, but he's setting the pace of the game, and it seems like the pace is going to be running it down as we move up to the top side and seeing Face Call. Trading back very, very effectively, did have to burn that potion here, and so far, actually so good. I mean, he's doing pretty good in this matchup. Again, I think Masuf has just been counterpicking himself in some of these games.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see the Darius coming out, especially in competitive right now, but if you are able to get him ahead, he's a solo queue monster, but Fate's Call is doing very well at poking out and staying safe behind these minions here, and he wasn't even level 3 yet, didn't have the lightning rush most likely. And we are seeing Tybro is going in the phase versus proc, but he's too far ahead of PJR, and that is going to be the inner flame coming out from Karma, and we see PJR does land, the Q there easy enough, the damage, and that is going to be potion used, and I believe Biscuit used for Karma.
Yeah, and actually so far this is going pretty well for Aquinas here in the bot side of the map, right? It's the Ezreal head by 8CS. The Karma is getting chunked out, and Alistar actually not doing too bad. We talked about in the last game where he has the ability through his passive there to heal up. Some of the more dangerous situations might actually be when that wave is pushed. However, against that double range matchup, they can chase you down on that long lane, so they need to be a little bit careful, but luckily for them, Mass Hydra did start on the bot side, and he'll be ending on the top side of the map as a quick reset comes out for Masuf on this Darius. Fate's Call has this wave pretty heavily frozen here on the top side, and that's going to be pretty abusive here for the top lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this Darius, we keep talking about it. It's a melee ranged matchup, which is something that, Fate's Call is going to excel at mostly. And we talked about the Gnar pickup as well. I know it was discussed, but this Kennen is just going to be able to free farm here and hold the wave. The Ezreal is pushing in, and actually Stevenator's doing pretty well, even though this, Azir had red buff, and we see the Masked Hydra now in mid lane being there for the Azir, which is flashless right now. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. We might see a Jarvan play coming out within the next few minutes here, just to see if they can capitalize and try to get that pressure back that they lost with, that Azir getting red buff.
Feels pretty bad. Stevenator making that one up there, has a little bit of a CS lead. Again, doesn't have a teleport on the Swain, says opts for the Ghost for some of those team fight potential. And you can see Double Zero actually, destroying Spray Can here. Maybe destroying is a little bit too much of an over usage, but I mean, he's getting very, very low on this Karma. That's kind of the exact opposite of what you expected here, as Fate's Call is going to be pushing in that top side. But you mentioned, trying to return to that mid lane. I think that's what you have to do, right? Yes, you kind of gave the kill over to It Can Only Be Jared on the Sincere. That feels really bad for the laner, but you did burn that flash. You still have the tools to make that up here in the mid lane when it actually might be more important, right? When some of these objective spawns, if you're able to blow him up right before Rift Herald or a Mountain Drake here, as it looks like Mass Hydra is actually to take that one for himself. Like, you still have that opportunity for a minute or so before that flash comes back up.
Yeah, and something that, Obi Toppin would always tell me, if I messed up your lane, I'll try to fix it. Now we're just going to have to see if he can either bounce that for Stevenator, or if they're just going to let it stay and let it play as is and have, Obi Toppin here coming through. And we are seeing the Flag and Dragon. He does get the Smite steal. He's going onto the Hecarim here. We have 2 flashless members on the side of Southern Illinois, and that is going to be the bot lane showing up. That is Azir throwing out the Shurima Shuffle. And he's going to try to get out of this back corner here, and now we are seeing the members of Southern Illinois, their bot lane, they are trying to run away. That is a flash coming out from Misfortune. That is a flash coming out from Karma. And that is going to be the Demon Flare coming through. And that is going to be, a kill going on to Alistar. Not exactly what you wanted, but Stevenator with the Swain does get that first kill. And we are now seeing Fate's Call poke out this Darius top. And that's kind of an overall win for Aquinas.
Yep, huge pickup for Aquinas College, and actually it can only be Jared failed his little streamless shuffle there. Didn't quite get over the wall, but was out of vision, and actually gets away for free as the Slicing Maelstrom comes down.
Ooh,
Fate's
Fate's
able
called!
to flash through, but he gets the solo kill on the Masu.
Oh, that has to feel bad. The Darius Q coming in, but does not get the healing, as Fate's Call did get the flash over with the Slicing Maelstrom. We are seeing Hecarim now coming through, does get the heroic charge off, and that is going to be the kill going on to Hecarim. 2-1 now, but still, that is the solo kill. That is a lot of pressure that this Fate's Call Kennen is going to be able to put onto this Darius.
Yep, but Masked Hydra is quite a bit ahead here in this jungle matchup, right? We talked about him being 2-1-0. He does have, you know, the phage there. We'll see what that chooses to build into. A few different options now in days. Maybe we'll see the Gore Drinker. It could be Divine Sunder, or it could be the Trinity Force like last game. Maybe we'll see what that translates into. However, OB top in here with that Iron Spike Wick, so he's for sure going for that Gore Drinker. I kind of like that build there for, you know, J4. You're not quite full tank, but you have so much healing that you might as well be, and you still do so much damage. You can pretty much blow someone up with your combo.
Yeah, Gore Drinker is just such a strong item. It gives health, it gives damage, and you just are able to go into team fights and have the confidence of coming out with so much health still. You know, Fate's Call is getting these auto attacks off and building up that W passive. Almost got the stun there. And we are seeing the Jarvan come in with the Cataclysm knockup, and they know for a fact they cannot leave, as bot lane did use both flashes at that dragon. And that is huge. 2 kills going over to PJR 0-0 here.
Yep, this Ezreal picking up 2 of those kills there. Excellent flash Cataclysm there. It can only be Jared. Maybe was trying to go in with that Emperor's Divide. He's going to take that. Actually able to push him away, but doesn't have another charge of that Conquering Sands to finish off Steven Nader, as now Masked Hydra is in the mid lane, but so is Aquinas College. Plate picked up into the bot lane, but just a trade in the mid lane there between the two of them.
Yeah, that was, you know, pretty well executed there from Aquinas, as they knew PGR would be able to just get that free turret plate on his own since the bot lane was just killed. And we did see Tybro and Obi Toppin moved up to that mid lane to make sure that Steve Nader would survive that altercation. Very well executed by them. They're doing these rotations quite well. And we see Fate's Call trying to keep this lane here. Is going to get ran into by Darius, and that's going to be the Lightning Rush come through, and Darius does not land the pull. That is very, very well executed there from Fate's Call.
That's why we were kind of afraid for Masu here in that top lane in that matchup, right? This Kennen just has so many different ways of being able to run out, and kind of revolves around getting that stun. But I mean, even if you can dance to the side with that Lightning Rush, it makes it very, very easy for this Kennen just to move out of the way of the Darius, who can do nothing really but walk at you. So I mean, eventually you have this Darius is going to be pick up a few movement items. You see he has brushed those Mercury Treads, which is a pretty good pickup, but that also means he does no damage once he finally gets onto this Kennen, and be very, very difficult for him until it reaches that first item. And you talked about Obi Toppin, you know, trying to fix the lane, but instead he's trying to fix the game, as he picked up that Drake and the double kill for the bot side. And he just says, sorry to Steven Nader, but you're on your own. And actually Essence Reaver picked up for Ezreal, so a little bit of a newer build here coming out of the bot laner for Aquinas.
Yeah, not rushing the mythic item, instead just going right for the Essence Reaver. You know, it is the Sheen passive along with just the mana regeneration that comes with using abilities here. You know, I'm very interested to see how this build turns out, but I have good faith in what PJR comes out, especially with this Ezreal. He's been very proficient on it. You know, last season he was doing fantastic things with the champ itself, and I really hope to see him pop off this game.
Yep, we'll see if he goes into more crit itemizations. And while you don't really get that crit damage with your Q ability, with any of that, it makes your auto attacks hurt a ton more, and you actually pick up a ton of AD. So not too bad for 0-0 on this Ezreal. This next Drake is going to be spawning soon. You do have Mario Flame and Spray Can rotating over here. It can only be Jared. On the other side here is, ooh, those abilities don't land for Aquinas, or for sure that would be a fried bird there in the mid lane.
Yeah, that flag and drag so close to hitting, but the Shurima movement does come through with the Soldier Dance. And we're just going to have to see. This dragon is up now. It is Ocean, meaning the next 2 Drakes could either be Infernal or Cloud. Again, not game-winning soul points, but they are still very helpful, especially the CDR that could come out. We are seeing Stevenator is trying to poke out. It can only be Jared here. It does get the Death's Hand, and we see Hecarim now coming through. And we're going to see the flash coming out early through Stevenator. Does get the pull onto this Azir, and he's actually poking them both out to half health as, you know, Masked Hydra did go under turret there.
Yeah, Masked Hydra playing a lot of attention to this mid lane here, and actually Obitopp
that is a flash for flash.
Yeah, flash for flash again. Southern Illinois. Carrie's doing a pretty good job of getting out of Tybro's clutches there in that mid lane. But again, that's another flash down for basically a mobile champion. Yes, you do have the shifting sands for Azir to get you out, but you can easily block that with the J4, right? You flag and drag behind them, that Cataclysm comes through, and you're basically right on top of that Azir. No matter which direction he tries to go, he's going to be interrupted, and his dash will be canceled.
Yeah, and you could even argue that flash trade right there wasn't even really a trade. Alistar has the Hex Flash. That flash is nothing more than just the instant Hex Flash that he's just going to be able to utilize a little bit more now. He can be pretty aggressive with this in lane, especially with how far ahead PJR is.
Yeah, and in drafting phase, you know, I was talking about how bad it would be for Aquinas to skip behind, and you told me the opposite. As actually Emperor Divide comes down to 0-0, doesn't have that arcane shift you previously used, it exhausted and shut down. It can only be Jared. Picks up his second kill of the game. This one, kind of give it to him as well as the first. Is actually on the top side of the map. Masked Hydra is trying to jump onto Fate's Call, but gets chunked by a few tower shots there and has to back out.
I want to just talk real quick about the restraint that PJR did show. He had flash and heal, but he knew that he would just be wasting his summoners, and he kept them in reserve and just walked to his death.
Yeah, we talk about that Hex Flash, I guess. Tybro's looking for more there in that mid lane, but you know, we talked about the huge growth and mechanics that 0-0 has come up with in this last year, but also that game knowledge, right? Where he knows he's pretty much said he's not going to waste those summoner spells. Really appreciate that coming out of there. As Fate's Call takes a pretty hefty trade from Asuf there in that top lane.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out. You only saw the 3 stacks there, but he has to play on the razor's edge against this Kennen. If he gets too close, he won't get his healing. If he gets too far away, Kennen will just outrange and poke him. Doing very well right now, but he is down by about 50 CS on this Darius.
Yep, about a 3k gold lead for Aquinas here. Fate's Call about to go in on Masuf, gets pulled in, Slicing Maelstrom comes up, doesn't have time to flash or move away, so the Cataclysm comes down, and Masuf doesn't able to get out of the Rift Herald summon into the mid lane, and only blades for Masked Hydra as 0-0 is trying to go all in on Mario Flames, but misses that ultimate, but looks like he might have enough damage as Mario Flames has to flash away from that last Mystic shot. 0-0 flashing
so much damage
for that kill, but the rest of the members are here on the side of Southern Illinois. Uses the Arcane Shift to buy time, but he has smited and he has taken down Masked Hydra, picking up that one.
Yeah, AQ got the trade on the top side, and they tried to get the even back on bot, and there was PJR just dove turret for the misfortune on his own, and he did get the kill. Absolutely stunning performance here from them, and we are seeing just the free push top lane now as Darius has to walk back again. He is that Ghost Flash Darius. He does not have that TP. He can't get that pressure back on.
Yep, so saving that flash and heal turned up pretty clutch for 0-0 on the bot lane. In the end, trading 1-for-1, but on the top side of a map that Darius is getting further and further behind as Masked Hydra's being caught out by Tybro and Obitoppin in their jungle there. And Obitoppin's gonna slay this horse there. And not much else is going to go down, but again, another pickup for Aquinas. Feels good.
Yeah, Tybro just passing the horse on over like a game of basketball, if you will. The layup just fall through, and that was just an easy, clean pick up, and that is going to be Fate's Call. Might actually drop here from the bleed, and that is going to be the kill. Solo kill from Asuf there.
Yep, we do have Obitoppin flash onto the bot side, trying to land this Cataclysm. Spraycan doesn't have flash himself, has enough damage there. Stevenator actually picking up that kill as he burned down that Leandri's now. Mario Flames here, throwing out that bullet time in the middle of 3 people, and that's going to be a double kill for the Aquinas mid laner.
Yeah, AQ is just playing the map so intelligently right now, and they got the first 2 Drakes, and this Cloud Drake is spawning in 45 seconds, so we are seeing Obitoppin is resetting to get ready and maneuver down there. And Fate's Call does have the teleport, so you can just go back top lane here and get that. And we do see Tybro here, and that is going to be the wall coming out from the Azir, and PJR is able to just slap this horse under turret.
combo. First turret does go over to Southern Illinois. I mean, that is kind of one of the dangers of your mid laner roaming across, as Azir can actually burn down turrets, right? He gets more attack speed if he summons, 3 of those sand soldiers, and so he's able to throw that out. He's not going for that Nashor's Tooth immediately, instead opting to get that lost chapter first. But the third Drake of the game is going to be summoned here.
Ooh, that's an onslaught of shadows.
Yeah, it has to be used to jump away from this fight, so Aquinas should be able to pick up this Drake fairly easily.
Yeah, there's really no hope now. Masked Hydra getting in there to try to get the steal right now. They're going to have to give up the third Drake of the game.
Yeah, that's going to be soul point for Aquinas. Don't see any steal coming through, and no, it will not be. And actually, Cloud Soul, pretty important for Aquinas' size. I mean, think about it, because not only do you cooldown reduction, but actually the Flag and Drag goes down onto Spray Can. He goes down, Cataclysm coming through, and that'll be Mario Flames to follow as a Rampage for Stevenator in this mid lane, despite that risky start from Obitopp and giving him the kill over as the ultimate goes wide against that Shurima.
PJR is just landing these mystic shots, and they do so much damage already.
Not done yet as Tyro tries to flash in, but he gets out. Masuf here going in on the top lane. Fate's Call slowed, knocked around, but the Slicing Maelstrom's going to buy some time. Actually, that Q is healing, and Masuf gets the solo kill for a second time. Now, as soon as he hits that Stride Baker, he's feeling himself.
Yeah, the dunk is just coming out. It is so much healing if you get caught in that Darius Q there, the spinning axe. And, the Noxious dunk, he's just able to get it through. And we do see members going on to Stevenator here, and he is just going to keep backing away. He's the only member left on the bot side of this map. The others have reset or are respawning.
Yeah, it can only be Jared not quite using that combo, right? You want to summon your soldiers with that Arise, use the Shifting Sands, and then use the Conquering Sands to move a little bit further, have that Emperor's Divide ready. Ideally, he wants to move over that next wall and push Stevenator into the team. As Stevenator didn't have Flash, but he did have that Demonic Ascension, so he might have been able to turn that around. So maybe that's pretty lucky for General that he wasn't able to get that combo.
Yeah, Stevenator is very, very strong and did have the ultimate and the Ghost as well. And we are seeing a little bit of vision gathered here. Herald is still up for another minute and 15 seconds before the hard despawn cap that it has. And we are seeing the Hecarim move up here to help clear vision.
Yep, and it is going to be, here if we look at the scoreboard, 00 picking up the Dustblade. So fully looking to get some real damage down to the squishier members of Southern Illinois, which, I mean, basically you have those 3 members, right? You have that Karma, you have the Misfortune, you have the Azir, and even Hecarim can get a little bit squishier after that Spirit of Dread wears off the Gale Force going in here onto 00. Ooh, that Ember's Spike.
Good flash, and then
Time was actually going in. They're trading it back onto it. Now, J4 has entered the fray. Cataclysm going down, 00 picking up 1 kill. 2 members on the top side of the map. Another dunk from Masuf should claim this one up, but Mass Hydra instead is able to take that kill away as Aquinas is barreling down to his mid lane.
Yeah, that was a top laner traded for a mid laner there, but Aquinas has the group first and is able to push first.
Yeah, but look at those summoner spells down. Exhaust down for Spraycram. Flash also down as Mask Hydra just being found out in his jungle. Maybe going for a flank there, but they don't have the members to defend this. However, not really any objectives up that Aquinas can really take by now. I mean, if you start that Rift Herald before 20 minutes and it's not over by that 20 minutes, it will stick around for another 20 to 30 seconds, so they do have a little bit of time to take that. Instead, Baron will be coming up shortly, but look at this. Drake is spawning within the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, we see Obitopp and we do see Stevenator now kind of moving in the spot side area here of the enemy jungle. And they do see the Azir now, and they are going to be looking to go in, and there's going to be, Azir just shuffling out as much as he can. We do see the Karma sticking around, but right now AQ is just trying to play the map. They have another 90 seconds until this dragon. And we do see Masuf coming in here, does get the Stride Breaker, and there's going to be the flash coming from Fate's Call. He has to be so careful right now against Asterius. If he keeps getting solo killed here, that's going to be a lot of pressure that AQ is losing.
Yeah, they need this Kennen to be at least on par against this Darius. You don't want him going down over and over again. While this Darius hasn't really been able to get too much in it, is 2-2 and 2, hasn't been able to take down that turret, hasn't been able to go across the map, doesn't have teleport to make any plays, so really he's just stuck in this lane against this Kennen. And it's 20 minutes now and they're not being able to do anything while Aquinas is running the rest of the map. Hits that soul point now, 45 seconds until this Cloud Drake spawns. And I mean, honestly, you could pretty much give this one up. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to be aiding you in total combat power, you know, for the side of Aquinas, as the Flying Drag does miss, but Tybro does not, as that is a point and click, as Mass Hydra is stunned up, and the onslaught Slados comes through, pushing down, but Cataclysm comes out for J4, is able to flash away, as Breakman almost goes down, Flag and Drag over, Masuf is able to dunk him, now he has full stacks, but he is easily taken down by Fate's Call, and the rest of the members, Emperor's Divide use just to buy time, but Steven here is the back end of the fight, as Double0 is on a killing spree, Tybro trying to get the rest of these members of Southern Illinois. But 2 members are left for them on the blue side, and Aquinas should be able to pick up this Drake even without their jungler.
Yeah, very interesting if you're watching the back end of that fight. Stevenator was just able to go through the back line there, and he never had to worry. Came out of the fight full health. You know, that was a 3-for-1, and they're going to get the soul point now. Cloud Soul does, in fact, grant a large amount of movement speed upon ultimate activation, which is going to be really good for the majority of the members here on Aquinas. You know, the Slicing Maelstrom and the Demonic Embrace coming through from Kennen and Swain. They are just going to be hauling through your team now.
And my worst fears for Southern Illinois have come true, my friend. Look, you can see that they were able to get 1 pick onto Obi Toppin, but with that Gore Drinker, he just bought enough time. Hits down that Cataclysm, and there's very little that the rest of the team could do for Southern Illinois. They didn't have the lockdown for this bullet time, so essentially, bullet time went down onto J4, and then J4 just flashed away, right? They don't have the composition built around this Misfortune carry, and then the Emperor's Divide was used, but Double0 just jumps right over it. He's going to be jumping down to Mario Flame now on a rampage. Easy kill picked up for Double0.
So much damage from this Ezreal, landing the Mystic shots from across the lane. It does not matter. This Ezreal is pumping damage, and that is going to be AQ onto Baron.
Yep, and that's something cool that you can talk about, like that Ravenous Hydra. I mean, he doesn't even have the Ravenous Hydra, but the Tiamat picked up for Ezreal, but his Mystic shots actually apply on hits. So typically, Ravenous Hydra will make that big cleave once you complete the item, but Ezreal doesn't even need it to do that big AoE damage, as Double0 picking up that Baron, and now Tybro has found out this Darius.
Ooh, that cow is fast.
He is indeed, as this is going to be ripping away from that one.
Whew. Yeah, very, very fast cow there. He did have to use the ultimate there, but they are going to be able to push down this tier 1 top tier, and that's going to be Obi Toppin going in. The Cataclysm does not keep the members left in, and that is going to be Hecarim falling on the opposite side there, though. You know, Kennen did drop from the Azir. Obi Toppin very low. Did miss the flag and try to get through, and that's going to be him dropping to the Misfortune. Darius is coming through here, and they're going to have to be very careful. Stevenator now onto this Azir, and Azir is going to escape here. Stevenator kind of alone against these 4 members here of Southern Illinois. Does get to regroup. Oh, Mystic shot snipe. That is going to be Stevenator locking the Azir up, and that is going to be the flash, and that is going to be a very aggressive play coming from PJR, but it does not matter as Tybro does have the Hex Flash. He says, where my ADC goes, I'll Arcane Shift too. He is able to follow up, and they are just going to clean house there.
Yep. You know, 2 members alive, though Mass Hydra actually did go down at the beginning of that fight. So really, Mario Flame was the last member standing for Southern Illinois. Now, Tybro is actually in the middle of nowhere. None of his team is around, but he was a fast cow, my man.
Yeah, he's got that dead man's play with mobility boots, and he's in the Cloud Zone. He is just getting away. You know, if you ever seen a race between a horse and a cow, you kind of have now.
It looks a little bit different here on Summoner's Rift, but Aquinas now in firm control of this game. 9k up, have that Cloud Soul, have that Baron buff. See how they choose to close this one out. It can be very, very clean or very messy, but frankly, they're very ahead in this match, and Double0 quickly taking over the game with Obi Toppin and Stevenator playing some really, really good CC. Flag down just for vision, just a little bit of an underrated interaction with Double0. Uses that ultimate to maybe stop some backs and get some scouting information.
Speaking of, you know, unappreciated interaction, something that we did see earlier, but you know, you kind of have to have a keen eye for it. When Obi Toppin went in earlier before the Cloud Soul, Fate's Call came through with the teleport, not on a ward, but on the Jarvan flag itself. Something that I feel like a lot of people don't really utilize.
Nope, not at all. And one more for you, just this is a tidbit, is actually Looks like they're pulling him through. Actually, wow, full time coming in, but so is Obi top.
Lot of
Cataclysm coming out,
damage.
slicing Maelstrom in the back line, but he is exhausted as 3 members are coming through. And Surreal picking up one on the backside, but triple kill for Stevenator here. Now he's zooming and moving with that cloud, so make it a quadra kill and 0-0. You stole his penta.
Yeah, Stevenator, you saw him. He popped the demonic embrace, and he could chase down that horse, no problem at all. And that is going to be the game for Aquinas. That is a 2-0 here against Southern Illinois University, putting AQ at the record of 3 wins and 1 loss. Very good win, 26-36 for the time.
Yep, Samir was banned in this game, but Aquinas it was against what I would assume would be a pretty poor matchup, but 0-0 was very easily ahead. Tybro on this Alistar again, making so many plays across the map.
Yeah, absolutely astonishing play there coming from the AQ bot lane. Like we saw at that Baron pit where where PJR went, Tybro soon to follow. He is able to use that Hex Flash very well, and I'm very proud of what this AQ roster is doing.
Yep, so that will conclude today's match in our College League of Legends scene. Aquinas Esports takes down Southern Illinois University and keeps their dream alive. Now they need to win the next 2 matches coming here for the next 2 Saturdays.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget, Aquinas is also a part of the Phoenix Rising matches, which are played on Fridays. They are streamed over at the Phoenix Rising League TV Twitch channel. Again, twitch.tv/Phoenix Rising League TV. And I believe we are here for the next Saturday.
Yes, we are. Looking forward to work with you guys. It's been fun tonight. My name is Blue Jay. With me again is Armor Class, Will, or formerly Motion, whichever one you want to go by. But you know what? Stay safe, have a good night, and stay out of solo queue.